So we have come to the second question and answer session. So I'll invite to present with the written questions.
Venerable Sir, today we have altogether 7 questions, out of which one yogi has requested for you to explain the 16 steps of Anapanasati and about a question about the 4 Satipatthanas. So the rest of the questions are all experiences. So you want me to read the experiences first?
Yes, yes.
Venerable Sir, I am somewhat a beginner to meditation. During sitting, I could not concentrate because I got a throbbing pain in my leg. I was chanting gathas thinking it will go away, but it did not. However, I did not get up. Bhante, please explain and advise. Thero Saranai.
Probably you can try a balm or something rather than chanting. Because these medicines might help rather than expecting our kind of wishing it to go away. So those are kind of habits or certain things that we think, okay, when I wish that it may go away, when I bless it will go away. So those are some, I feel it may not work out like that. So you better take a medicine, I think, if it is a remaining situation. But if it is happening due to your posture, then you can adjust the posture. Because sometimes when we are sitting, we may not select the proper posture. It can lead to this kind of problem. Because it is not necessary to sit cross-legged, kind of a perfect lotus posture. But if you are feeling comfortable with say half lotus or even on a chair, meditation cushion, meditation chair, that is quite alright. So at the beginning we should not try to be perfect on the posture, very much like, okay, cross-legged and the lotus posture and kind of a strict posture. But if you feel that once you sit, that you are feeling very comfortable, you feel very at ease, so that indicates that once you sit, you are getting the kind of a benefit, or you are getting the support from your posture. So select something like that, then you can carry on your meditation. And again, suppose while you are continuing like that, still if you, from the beginning, if you are getting kind of a pain on your knees or something like that, then you can still try it straightening the leg or something like that. Or even if you are sitting cross-legged, you can keep a little small cushion just to support your knee. So like that, at the beginning we have to try various ways, because our body is not yet prepared for meditation. So it takes time to get good benefit or good support from the posture, from the body. And it will take time, and it will, as you meditate, say continuously, or as you meditate regularly, your body starts to adjust. Your body starts to understand this is another comfortable, this is another typical posture, like walking, standing and sitting, something like that. So then ultimately with time, you can even neglect the posture and it is naturally supporting. But at the beginning it is so difficult. Maybe even after 10 minutes you have to change the posture. After another 10 minutes you have to change the posture. So like that, there are some initial troubles that we need to encounter. So have to be patient with these things. Yes.
And this yogi is also a beginner. Please, Venerable Sir, since I started to do the walking, the pain in my knee disappeared. While walking, I get a slight headache and I feel I am not steady, like I am going to fall. I lose my balance. Sitting bhavana, I get a back pain. Are all these normal? First time I am doing this bhavana. Thero Saranai.
Yes, we can say that because sometimes, as I said in the morning also, because this present moment awareness is not always kind of a blissful, pleasurable feeling. Rather, it may reveal that there are certain pains available in the body. We might have even neglected, or we even didn't notice them. Because as our mind tries to focus, to concentrate, then even very little pains appear kind of a fairly significant pain. So that's the nature of the concentration. The concentrated mind can enhance the experience. So it may be available, I mean, even when you are not meditating, such little pains may be available in the body, but our mind is not capable of catching them, tracing them. But as you start to meditate, so those little pain appears very, very troublesome and really significant and unbearable. So it is quite natural. And in the similar situation, like I said in the past, in the previous question, here also you can check whether your posture is giving you enough support. If not, you can adjust the posture. And this question has a walking session, and it is telling that it is losing the balance, is it? Yes.
While walking, I get a slight headache and I feel I am not steady, like I am going to fall. I lose my balance.
Yeah. So typically just checking if are you doing any kind of artificial walking. So this walking meditation is not something that we are trying to strain ourselves and do a kind of a walking on a rope type of thing. It is a typical walking. Like we are walking to a shop, like we are walking inside our house. So it is like we are walking inside an office. So it's a typical natural walking. So don't try to make it special, artificial, or kind of abnormal. Just make it a typical natural walking. Then you can't get any kind of this complexities, because typical walking may not generate any kind of headache. If it is a headache, even when you are just walking in a normal manner, then it is something, some other issue, but not coming from the walking meditation. In walking meditation, just always try to maintain a typical natural walking way. Then these complexities may not come. And again, checking while you are doing this kind of a natural walking, if you are exerting too much effort, say when you are with a cluttered say teeth and with lot of effort, and you are striving to keep the mind on the left and right, so that is in a way too much effort. So it may be true that sometimes the mind wander and maybe thinking various things, but still it may come back. So you allow some time to settle it back. So it may not happen immediately as we wish. So it may take several hours or several weeks to settle. Doesn't matter. So if during this session, if you are now you are in the walking meditation session, if during this session, if you can be mindful, say about 5 steps at a stretch, say from this end to the other end, suppose you are able to be mindful on 5 steps, doesn't matter, that is more than enough. So next time when you are coming back, just try to see at least you can maintain that 5 steps, or maybe you can increase that to 6 steps. So don't try too much or too hard. So if you are exerting too much effort, striving, struggling, then it can generate this kind of headache. So keep it relaxed, keep it open and relaxed attitude, and while the body is walking naturally, our duty is to just in a relaxed attitude, just maintaining our attention at the place of touching. Yeah. Yes.
Venerable Sir, this yogi has 2 questions, both on sitting. Can I just read?
Fine.
Venerable Sir, I am an absolute beginner, and this is regarding what I felt in sitting meditation in some sessions. After some time, I saw illusionary, extremely bright light of blue/purple circle and darker outline faded away from center. When I neglect what I saw and focus on the breathing, this light became more and more prominent and expanding. This I feel is a distraction. Please guide me to avoid this.
Yeah, we can't avoid it. So if your meditation succeeds in one direction, it can appear. So consider it as a effect or result of meditation. So at this time, don't pay your attention to that. So that is the advice we can give. So this has generated because of the concentration power of the mind. Now typically mind is so scattered, but as with the meditation, especially through in-breath and out-breath meditation, breathing meditation, anapanasati, when our mind starts to concentrate, so it can generate this kind of a light. So it is quite natural. It is not something that you have to push it away. Rather, keep continuing with your mindfulness on breathing. So these things are appearing and disappearing, doesn't matter. So your duty is to just maintain your attention at the breathing. So if you are not looking at this light, if you are not distracting yourself with this light, and you are continuing your meditation with breath, then even this light can become brighter and steady, and you can even advance in the concentration side using this light. So consider it as a kind of an indication that you are progressing. Yeah.
This is by the same yogi. Today when I do sitting meditation, certain things in my life which had happened decades ago and which not frequently comes to my mind, I suddenly remembered. They were not particularly sad or happy incidents. Please guide me to avoid these.
Yeah, that also not necessary to guide, not necessary to avoid. So once they are coming up, so just neglect them and come back to your primary object, or because still you are not matured enough or capable enough to handle it face to face. So right now your refuge, your safety is the primary object. So primary object is, say if you are in anapanasati, in breath and out breath is your primary object. Being aware of the in breath, being aware of the out breath. So while you are doing that, certain memories may coming up. So it is just consider it as a memory. So if you are going to analyze it, if you are going to see the content of it, then you might get distracted because still mindfulness is not strong enough. So the content of the thoughts are quite capable of distracting you, catching you, and sort of tempting you towards various other things. So the best thing to do is to continue with the primary object, and if you get distracted for a while, doesn't matter, just forget about what has happened, and once you establish your mindfulness, again continue with the breath. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante, when meditating Anapanasati, sometimes I come to a stage where my breath is very, very short and I can't identify in breath or out breath, and I don't feel the area around my nose as well. Please advise how I should proceed. Thero Saranai.
So if you are a continuously practicing meditator, so this can happen because it is not that we are expecting kind of a really gross, prominent, high intensity breath every time. So as you are progressing, the nature of the breath is to calm down, to become subtler and subtler. So it's in a way become challenging for us to maintain our attention on this subtle breath. So as you all can understand, if the breath is fairly gross, if it is very easy to maintain our attention on gross object, gross breath. But more and more we are concentrating, more and more we are developing mindfulness, our mind calms down. At the same time, breath also calms down. Breath also becomes subtler and subtler. So then challenge is to how can we maintain our attention, how can we maintain mindfulness even with this subtle breath. So sometimes we fall asleep because this is very, very soft and it is very soothing kind of breath, and it is very calm, and we are trying to maintain our attention, we fall asleep. So doesn't matter. So at this stage, don't try to force breathe, or don't try to change the posture, or don't try to take up the noting, or don't get up and go for the walking. But doesn't matter. If you are falling asleep, still doesn't matter, because you understand now your mind is really going to a real far kind of a deeper state. Later on in the next session, check whether you can be still awake when the breath becomes softer or subtler. Even you might fall asleep, doesn't matter. Again try. So there may be a stage, there may be a time that you can maintain fully wakefulness even when breath is extremely subtle. You can't even notice it. So at the beginning you can really distinguish what is in breath and what is out breath. Then it may appear, in breath might appear longer, out breath may appear shorter, or maybe in breath itself appear longer when compared with the previous in breath, or it may appear shorter when compared with the previous in breath. Likewise, you are able to understand or distinguish these subtle characteristics, subtle differences. That indicates that your sampajanya, clear comprehension, is further improving. It's a good sign. And as you are noting it more and more, this breath becomes subtler and subtler. It's more challenging, more soft, very much like unnoticeable. So if you are able to maintain your attention even with this subtler breath, it's a good sign. Without falling asleep, without getting up, without forced breathing, but with this subtle breath, you are fully awake. Check how long you can maintain it. So if you like to tell me how long you can maintain this, so I can guide you further. I don't know whose question is this. So if you still want to continue and practice and just check how long you can maintain. Maybe say if it is just 5 minutes, then try to maintain it for 10 minutes. What I'm meaning is, so your breath becomes calm, subtler, and your mind is very composed, quiet, and now still you are fully awake, and you are still maintaining your attention on breath. So it's again become further subtler. You can't even notice it. Now you can't distinguish whether it is in breath or out breath. Still you are just maintaining your attention at the nostril. If you can maintain it for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and you are very sure about it, very confident that even on the next session I can reach this state, then this is a good sign that after you are reaching this stage, you can turn your attention to vipassana, or you can even continue with the anapanasati. So it happens, it depends on how it is progressing. So that's why I want to discuss a little bit further, but you can try it further and let me know.
Avasrai Swamin Vahansa, sitting meditation, 8 to 9 morning guided by Bhante. I would like to share my experience during the sitting meditation. As guided, I followed all the instructions, though my mind drifted away from the prime objective. Quite a few times, I was able to be mindful most of the time. Birds were chirping outside, the sound of vehicles passing by, and few thoughts distracted my mind. However, I was able to get back to my in-breath and out-breath, the prime objective. Since I was not able to continue meditation during last few weeks, I think this could be a slight improvement. Much merit to you.
Good. Keep continuing. So these are indications that you are in the present moment. You are not carried away by the past or the future, but fully in the present moment. And once you are able to establish your attention on the present moment, take your attention to the body, not going outside. It is true that you can hear various things, but still it is better to keep your attention inside the body, and inside experience is much useful. So keep your attention to inside body experience. It may be a kind of a natural process going on, like rising and falling, or in breath and out breath, or the posture, the touching points. So these are quite important. So rather than keeping your attention outside, so once you establish your mindfulness even using outside objects, bring your attention to inside, and further cultivate the mindfulness. Yeah.
Venerable Sir, when I do Anapanasati, very often flies disturb me. I try very hard to ignore and I have succeeded several times. But sometimes they settle on my nose, my ear or my lips and then it becomes difficult to concentrate. What advice can you give Bhante? Theruvan Saranai.
Actually, last time our organizer tries to get some mosquito nets, but I think it didn't succeed. So if you can maintain at least some kind of equanimity without being anger, that is more than enough. Because if a real fly coming and landing on your nose, it is really irritating. But if without immediately take your hand and try to brush it away, so slowly if you can take your hand mindfully and chase it away, that is much better. Because these distractions in a way basically kind of harms the developed concentration. If you are in a fairly slowly going on in the improving side of the concentration, for example, say within a half an hour meditation, and at that time suppose a fly coming and landing on your nose, so immediately you are trying to send it away, so then the developed attention, developed concentration, mindfulness can break. So even that happens, even when a fly come and land on your nose, if you are taking your hand slowly, mindfully and just touching the nose and take it away, then this action, taking your hand and using it may not really harm the meditation. So distraction is we can't avoid, but only thing is how we are reacting it, how we are approaching it, how we are behaving on the distraction. So if we can maintain our mindfulness without much of a problem, then it is making little harm. Yeah.
This is the question about the Anapanasati and the four Satipatthanas. Can I proceed? Venerable Bhante, if time permits, please explain at least the first 6 steps out of the 16 steps of Anapanasati. We would like to know what exactly we are supposed to do in each step and what experiences one can expect after successfully being in each given step.
Yeah. So it is explained in several suttas. Particularly in Anapanasati Sutta comes in Majjhima Nikaya. So Buddha says by developing Anapanasati you can develop 4 Satipatthanas. So typically we think that Anapanasati actually included in Mahasatipatthana Sutta as a one type of Kayanupassana meditation which is related to the body. But in Anapanasati Sutta, Buddha in a way radically says that even in this Anapanasati itself, this one meditation object itself, you can develop all 4 Satipatthanas. That's the beauty of this sutta. And he repeated that same answer or same advice at several other places as well. So therefore, in a way, if someone is really succeeding or really loud in Anapanasati, this is a very good kind of motivation, because it is telling us how we can handle, how we can develop all 4 Satipatthanas using Anapanasati. So the first stage, so it is given in 16 stages, and the first 4 belongs to Kayanupassana, the second 4 belongs to Vedananupassana, the third 4 belongs to Chittanupassana, and the last 4 belongs to Dhammanupassana. The first 4 beginning with Digam va asasanto digam asasamiti pajanati digam va pasasanto digam pasasamiti pajanati. So basically says, so even before coming to that, sato va asasati sato pasasati, so that simply indicates that you are mindfully breathing in, you are mindfully breathing out. And while you are doing that, so you suppose your mind is now somewhat composed and less distractions, and you are being able to maintain your attention on breath. And now you can distinguish, now I am very well aware, now in-breath is happening. Now I am very well aware that out-breath is happening. And you can even use kind of a label like in, out, or 1, 2, or in-breath, out-breath. Such things can even help at the beginning. Suppose using these kind of techniques you succeeded, and you can drop these labels and simply be aware. Okay, right now in-breath is happening, I am fully aware of it. Mind is fairly calmed down. No labeling, no noting, rather simply being aware of this present moment breathing experience. If you are continuing like this, you may be able to understand when compared with the previous in-breath, the present in-breath has happened fairly little longer. Say just for understanding, if to tell you, say previous in-breath lasted only say 5 seconds. Now this present in-breath appears like lasting for 10 seconds. So you clearly understand when compared with the previous in-breath, the present in-breath is longer. Similarly, it applies for the out-breath as well. So when compared with the previous out-breath, the present out-breath can appear as longer. Similarly, it can appear as shorter, even the in-breath, and the out-breath also can appear as shorter when compared with the previous out-breath. So these things actually can vary. Don't think that it has to happen in a stepwise manner, first the longer and then the shorter. It can even interchange. It can appear longer, it can appear shorter, again it can appear longer, it can appear shorter, which indicates actually your sharpness of mindfulness is developing. Then Buddha is coming to the next stage, Rassangva asasanto, rassang asasamiti pajanati. So when it is shorter, you understand, you recognize it is shorter. Then Buddha advises us to restrain ourselves to see the complete in-breath. Because at the beginning, what we perceive or what we understand is the rough middle part of the breath, but breath is not immediately appearing with developed intensity and then immediately disappearing. It appears very gradually. It starts with very much like a 0 point and then slowly increasing its intensity and then coming to a peak value, and then it starts to diminish, starts to reduce, and slowly going to disappear. Kind of a bell-shaped curve type of appearance is there. So that we need to try to understand. So there Buddha says, Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Assa Sissamiti Sikkati. So here Buddha has selected the word Sikkati. Sikkati means we have to be restrained, we have to be little quiet. We should not change our posture at this time. We have to be fairly calm down, relaxed, and just allow this breath to, and just try to see the complete cycle of in-breath. Similarly, the complete cycle of out-breath. So you are now behaving well. As I said, not struggling, not changing the posture, just keep your attention in a concentrated, focused manner, and just try to see whether you can catch, whether you can see the slow beginning, the soft beginning, then the gross middle, and again the soft ending. And that is the third stage. Then the fourth stage, Buddha says, Passambayang kaya sankharang assa sissamiti sikkati. So as you are going deeper and deeper, as you are able to see these subtle characteristics of the breath, because of your attention, because of your calming down, breath further calms down. Breath starts to really calm down, become subtler and subtler. And if you are not well aware of this process, you might think that now you are losing your mindfulness, or your mindfulness is reducing. But what actually happens is the breath calms down, breath becomes subtler and subtler. So that is why the Suttame Jnana, the knowledge or the teaching is useful, when you are coming to this stage, if you know very well, so now the breath is calming down. It has become more challenging for me to be with subtler breath than the gross breath. So then you have to be again very careful. That's why Sabbakaya Padisangvedi Assa Sissamiti Sikkati. There also Buddha use Sikkati. Term Sikkati means, literally means, you need to restrain. You need to behave well. We should not do anything volitionally other than just watching. Now if you are volitionally start to force breathe, just to catch the breath, which is now very soft, very subtle, unnoticeable, and if you think that I want to notice it, I want to have the same mindfulness which I had at the beginning with a gross breath, and you are immediately taking a forced breathing, so you are distracting yourself, you are very much harming the progress. Rather, what you need to do is allowing this breath to calm down, keeping your mind very softly at the breath, and you have to reduce the effort. What I mean by reducing the effort is, now if you are doing any kind of labeling, noting, you have to drop it and just keep your attention very softly with the calming down breath, and that is kind of a reducing the effort. This concentration and effort has to be well balanced. As the mind concentrates, you have to reduce the effort, because effort is necessary only at the beginning to avoid distractions. But if your mind is now concentrating well, then you don't need much effort, because mind is with the breath. It is calm and it is happily staying with the breath. So therefore you have to reduce the effort and simply be with this calming down breath. So that is the fourth stage. And then actually these four stages Buddha says belong to Kayanupassana, because now you can see the whole process belongs to the body, and the breath is the kind of the primary part of the body, and therefore it's an indication what the body behaves, how the body behaves. And it's, in a way, it's a kind of a natural process. We are not doing anything artificial. We are allowing body to breathe by itself and simply watching the process. And this whole process belongs to body, so it is Kayanupassana. Then suppose you succeeded, and now mind becomes very composed, very happy, become kind of focused, and it by itself it is staying with breath. You don't need to catch it from outside and keep it back in the breath. Now it is behaving well. Now it is naturally by itself staying with breath. So because of this, kind of a pleasure arise, we can say it's kind of a rapture. So it arises, and therefore Buddha says Piti Patisangvedi Asasisamiti Sikkati as the fifth stage. So where because of your effort, because of your restraint, because of your continuous mindfulness, now your mind is well composed and all hindrances are dropped, subsided. And when the hindrances are subsided, you are getting some kind of inner joy, inner happiness. So that is why Buddha mentioned Piti Patisangvedi Asasisamiti Sikkati. Now you feel some rapture, maybe kind of goose bumps may appear, maybe kind of waves type of things can appear on your body. You may be feeling kind of little tingling sensations. So these are the indications that implies that the now body is also going through this kind of a pleasure, kind of a rapture. And Buddha says, don't worry about it, don't get afraid of this kind of pleasure, because it is not something came through the five senses. Rather it is because of your concentrated, well behaved mind, which is now free from defilements, which is now fairly free from the hindrances. So in a sense we can understand it is not always necessary to find happiness outside. Now in this stage you have immense amount of happiness which is born from inside. So in a way very beautiful achievement in meditation, because you understand it is when we are able to at least subside these defilements, at least subside these hindrances, mind naturally can become happy. It is stress-free, and it is composed, and it is peaceful, and that is what you are experiencing. And at this time, Buddha asks us to be aware of this happiness, be aware of this pleasure, be aware of this rapture. Piti Patisangvedi. So you are aware of this happiness or this rapture. Then you are going to the next stage, Sukha Patisangvedi, Asasisamiti Sikkati, where again somewhat similar to rapture but little matured kind of rapture. Now there are no kind of really disturbing type of bodily sensations. Rather, it appears like you are quite comfortable. You feel happy. Your body is well tranquil. You are internally now your body is giving a lot of support, and it does not disturbing you, and you are feeling quite comfortable, happy. So that's a kind of a indication. Sukha Patisangvedi Asasisamiti Sikkati. So you are now paying your attention to this happiness, this comfort of which is available in the body, and still the breathing is going on. Now breathing is not your primary object. Breathing happens like in a secondary object, but you can understand now there's a kind of a pressure risen in your body, kind of happiness risen in your body. And this is the 6th stage. So then the 7th stage, it says Chitta Sankhara Patisangvedi Asasisamiti Sikkati. So at this stage now even very slight sensations can happen. So Chitta Sankhara in Pali refers to Vedana and Sanya. So the feelings and the perceptions. So there may be little sensations can appear at different places. You can be aware of those things. Or different pleasurable feelings can happen. You can be aware of those things. And even certain types of different signs can happen. So these signs can be misleading. Say you might see a Buddha image, sometimes you can see a pagoda or whatever if you like. So those things can appear in your mind. And even something frightening also can happen, but none of them are useful. What Buddha asks us in next is Passambayang Chitta Sankharang Asasisamiti Sikkati. So you don't get distracted with these sensations, don't get distracted with these perceptions, these various signs. Rather you just neglect them or just be aware they are just signs, mere signs. And if you are not strengthening them, they start to fade away. So that's why they are now calming down. There were various sensations, there were various feelings available in the body, and since you are simply watching them without making any trouble with them, they start to disappear, they start to calm down. Again, there may be kind of signs happening, various visualizations happening. You are not getting much distracted about it, you are understanding it. You step back and watch them. Because of that, they start to fade away. Now they are calming down, and you are coming to the 8th stage, that is the Passambayang Chitta Sankharang Asasisamiti Sikkati, where now these bodily sensations, bodily feelings and the perceptions, signs, visualizations all are calming down. Then you can step to the mind, where you can start watching the mind. So this is a way that actually the question asked to explain 6 steps, so I explain all 8 steps. This last 4 steps actually belongs to Vedananupassana, where you are watching the feeling. Pressure is a feeling. Tingling sensations are of feelings. This kind of rapture is a feeling. So all these belongs to the aggregate of feeling. So Buddha says, in this stage, the yogi is doing Vedananupassana. Yeah.
Bhante, I think you explained this second part, but can I just also please explain how the 4 Satipatthanas relate to Anapanasati?
Yeah. So that's why. So these 16 stages, the next stage is the Chittanupassana, where Buddha asks us to watch the mind. So they are chitta patisanvedi asasisamiti sikkati. So one, rather than paying attention to breath, now he is watching the mind by the mind. So you are simply aware what is going on in my mind. Is it happy? Is it unhappy? Is it with distraction, or is it kind of scattered, or is it well composed, well focused, concentrated? So likewise you are understanding the mind, how it is happening, how it is going on. Chitta patisanvedi. Then abhipramodayan chittang, as you are understanding these things, so you can see I am not really necessary to obey various thoughts happening in my mind. So typically we think we are responsible for each and every thought. We are just behaving according to thoughts. Our thoughts are dictating us. So we become slaves to thoughts. But when you are reaching this stage, you can understand these thoughts are just coming and going. And they are happening due to various causes. And I don't need to be afraid of them. And I don't need to be a slave to them. I can simply see how they are coming, and I can simply disengage from them, and I can see how they are fading away when I am not participating, when I am not strengthening them, when I am not getting deluded by them. Then you get a distance from these thoughts. So that's another achievement, or another kind of a good event in the meditation, where you get the distance from thoughts. So far we were thinking the thoughts are I am, thoughts belongs to me, and it represents myself. And now you see, you can step back, you can separate from thoughts, and now you get a good chance to see thoughts as thoughts. That's a chitta. That is a chitte chittanupassye viharati. Where one may see the mind as mind. It is not my mind, it is not myself, but it is happening due to causes. And then abhipramodayan chittang samodahan chittang, where now the mind starts to calm down, because you are not strengthening any kind of mind state, and you are not getting deluded by them. So the stories become shorter and shorter. Typically whenever a thought happens, we start to think about it. We are adding many things to it. So we are going for a thought, going for a story. But now we are not strengthening. So the stories become shorter and shorter. Mental proliferation becomes shorter and shorter. And mind becomes well composed, very peaceful. So it is again calming down. So Buddha says, samodahan chittang asasisamiti sikkati. So you are now allowing mind to calm down. Then vimochayan chittang asasisamiti sikkati. Then as you are continuing, then your mind can completely free from thoughts. It's another real, I would say, breakthrough in your meditation, where your mind become completely free from thoughts. Now if you can remember, at the Kayanupassana level, we completely somewhat calm down the bodily sensations, or the bodily feelings, and the bodily phenomena appears like breathing. So those are fairly now calmed down. So we are not much bothered about these things. Body even very much like disappeared. We can't see the body, or we can't feel the body. And in the Vedananupassana level, all the sensations, all the feelings, and various visualizations, signs, perceptions, all those also calm down. Now see what has happened to the mind. Mind is well composed, very relaxed, very simple. And now you are watching the mind, and even now various thoughts are there, and even they are fading away. Even they are going away. And ultimately mind becomes free from thoughts. Vimochayang chittang. It is completely free from thoughts, and you are coming to another stage where you are simply feeling kind of a freedom of mind. So that is the Chittanupassana level. And then the last four stages related to the Dhammanupassana, where now you have kind of a freedom, and thoughts are coming and going seldom. It is not disturbing you. You have good control about your mind. And even now you are with some relaxed attitude, you are watching the mind, and you can clearly see thoughts are coming, they are appearing, and you are not supporting them, you are not getting deluded by them. Because of that, they are disappearing. They arise, and then for a short time they exist, and then they disappear, they pass away. They are rising and they are passing away. They are rising and they are passing away. So it is impermanent. Aniccanupassī asasisamiti sikkati, Buddha says. Then Virāgānupassī asasisamiti sikkati, where as you see these things, as you are familiar with these things, you become somewhat disenchanted, not interested about this process, because you understand these things are all impermanent. There is no person there, there is no I, or there is no external entity governing this process. There are certain different other causes are making it. I am just watching it. It very much like a complete outside experience. So you become disengaged and you feel kind of disenchanted, not interested about the process like. That is why Virāgānupassī. So it was at the beginning we consider this body is mine, I am here, I am feeling, I am experiencing, I am thinking, everywhere I am exist. But now there is no I am. Now simple processes are going on and you are allowing things to happen. You disengage from the experience, step back from the experience, and therefore the viraga. And then Nirodhanupassī asasisamiti sikkati, you are not much interested about forming things or generating things. Rather, you, even when things are generating by themselves, you are allowing them to cease. You are allowing them to pass away. You are not trying to hold to anything. That's why in the last stage, Patinissagganupassī, where you know that whenever things are coming, they will ultimately go. You don't need to get bothered. You don't need to get burdened by these things. They naturally arise into pass away. If they are arising, they are definitely pass away. So you have this understanding. So you are not bothered at all. You are simply allowing things to cease, allowing things to go. Patinissagganupassī. So you are having a kind of attitude. Whatever is coming, you are simply letting it go. You are not holding to anything. So this is the all 16 stages. The last 4 stages belongs to Dhammanupassana. So this way Buddha explains that the single meditation object, Ānāpānasati, is capable of qualifying to develop all 4 Satipatthanas. And not only that, he further explains, while if you are doing like this, if you are meditating like this, it helps to develop 7 Bojjhangas, and by completing or by fulfilling these 7 Bojjhangas, you are able to complete Vijja Vimutti, that is the understanding and the deliverance. That is very much like the Nibbana. Yeah. So we have finished the written questions. If you have any verbal questions, we welcome them. Yeah.
Bhante asked me to stay in that samadhi for a long time instead of staying in the samadhi.
Yeah.
Today I was just going and coming out, and as in Chittanupassana, my mind is agitated, my body is agitated. I was experience all these vipassana things, pressing, hardness, squeezing, all this, but not very much. Like before I had a very too much, but little. Even now when I'm listening to Dhamma Kamatan, my body just little, like squeezing, like a bambareya karakavala terla. All this experience little by little happened to me today, and the unhappiness thought came, all these past not good things came, but before the lunch, then for the lunch I got up and thought, oh, it's not mine, all these thoughts and my body not belongs to me, and I gave up everything, thinking like that. I feel not that happiness in my body and mind like before, maybe like agitating. Even yesterday night I saw when I was sitting after the meditation, this air is moving up with the lights are on. All these things, even now when I am looking at Bhante, it's blurred and maybe everything cannot get it at once.
Yeah, I mean now you can't see the clear edges. Pretty much like. So it doesn't matter. So keep continuing. So don't expect anything. Don't expect anything, but simply continue. So I mean continue just, I mean without much changes. So no need to change anything. You just keep observing these things, because our mind needs to educate like a little child. Because we can't impose any kind of knowledge to it. Rather than we have to educate it. I mean these phenomena, maybe sensations, maybe feelings, maybe thoughts, we are using to educate the mind. So mind is now slowly understanding how these things are, how they are appearing, how they are disappearing, how they are causing trouble, causing kind of a friction, causing kind of a suffering, agitation, all these things. So as it learning, as it getting educated, so it will start to slowly go away, or rather kind of disengage. So that's why Buddha says as yatha bhutan jnana dassanaya nibbidhatthaya. So I mean we don't need to deliberately be repulsed or have a kind of a depressed attitude. But if we are simply allowing mind to watch these things, how they appear and disappear, how they are behaving, whether we can control or is it completely out of our control. So likewise, when we are using these various characteristics, various techniques to educate the mind itself will disengage, mind itself will disenchant, kind of dispassionate. So it's a natural process and we can't expedite it. Only way of expediting is the continuous practice. Just continue your practice in a relaxed attitude and don't expect big results, and simply continue and it will happen naturally.
Again, to see these vipassana things,
doesn't matter. So keep watching them. Hard. So I mean right now say for example, if you can remember the very early stages of your meditation, say when a sensation happen, or maybe when your right foot, left foot is touching, we are forcefully, with lot of effort, we are keeping our attention there, because otherwise our mind get distracted. But right now distraction power is fairly less, hindrance power is fairly less. Therefore with little effort you can maintain your attention on that sensation. So do like that. Right now whenever sensation happens, with a relaxed attitude, with less effort, so keep your mind there and watch it closely. I hope you understood it.
I hope. The heartbeat is too much, and also the breath is, I cannot see, or inhale and exhale, I feel like goes together very fast, not shallow, very fast, even cannot see whether it's in breath or out breath.
Doesn't matter.
All these things happen.
So that's are you still continuing Anapanasati for a long time?
After came to Sri Lanka, maybe 1 year. Straight away.
Even now, even today, that you are going through Anapanasati.
First start with Anapana, then went to all.
That's right.
I was
no
doing
problem.
every day Anapana, not other thing, no Buddha.
Okay, no problem. So when you are continuing with Anapanasati, once it is become subtler and you can't distinguish in breath and out breath, and then it's a sign that you can now start watching the sensations. Now simply start to watching sensations. No problem. And even if you are sort of naturally, if you start to watch the mind, even doesn't matter. So you just simply watch the mind, and you can even understand through various thoughts, they are coming and going. Sensations are coming and going. Feelings are coming and going. So just educate the mind. So keep doing it. I mean, nothing to worry.
Okay.
Sukhi hotu. Any other question, or we can wind up? Okay, then we have spent almost about an hour in the question and answer session. So thank you very much for participation.